Okay, good morning, everybody. We're gonna get started. Unfortunately, this morning, Supervisor Stopper is unwell, so I will be running this meeting today, so please bear with me. So with that, we will call for order and pledge of allegiance. Supervisor Toffenhage, that's a pledge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, before we go to staff announcements, we will start with the report out of closed session from the last meeting. So I will turn it over to Stacy, to the clerk.
Closed session from February 24th, 2026. Item 1, pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D1. Conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation, Maxwell versus Calaveras County et al., Calaveras County Superior Court Case number 22CV46415. Board action, no reportable action taken. Item 2, pursuant to Government Code 54657B1, Public Employee Performance Evaluation, Title, County Council, Board action, no reportable action taken. Item 3, pursuant to Government Code 54657B1, Public Employee Performance Evaluation, Title, County Executive Officer, Board action, no reportable action taken.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll move on to staff announcements, and we have Lisa.
Valerie and Shauna. Good morning, Board. Lisa Medina, Environmental Management Agency. Shauna. Hi. Good morning. This is Mallory. Mallory is a spayed female Belgian Malinois, and she is estimated to be about 1 year old. We think she's spayed because she has a space guard on her belly, but we will get that confirmed by a veterinarian. So Mallory's breed is known for its intelligence, agility, and mobility. Very active dog. Mallory loves playing with her favorite squeaky blue toy, and her playful nature shines when she is doing so. She seems to get along with other dogs and appears not as interested around other pups and is more often calm than not, right, Shauna? We can tell that Mallory really likes people, and she would do really well in an active home with humans. And we think she is house trained because she's barely 1 year old. Super smart breed. If you are interested in Mallory, she will of course need to be confirmed that she is spayed at a veterinarian and introduced to other household pets if you have some pups at home. So this is Mallory. Isn't she beautiful? Mm-hmm. So she's already going, oh, Nick brought me some treats. My second staff announcement, we have our next free focus rabies and microchip clinic, which will be held here next Saturday, the 14th, from 9 to 11:30. Dr. Mike Hayes will be donating his precious time along with our focus members, volunteers, and CCAS staff. And that is it. If you have any questions?
No question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other staff announcements? Seeing none, wait, none. Okay, we'll move on to recognitions and acknowledgement. Clerk, if you could please read item 1.
Item 1, Proclamation, Human Services, proclaim March 2026 as National Social Work Month in Calaveras County.
I turn it over to Supervisor Andal.
Good morning. Whereas social workers positively impact the lives of millions of Americans daily in child welfare and adult protection agencies, hospitals, schools, community centers, and within the federal, state, and local government nationwide. And whereas for more than a century, social workers have worked to improve human well-being, advocate for justice, and support everyone's basic needs. And whereas social workers have helped this community live up to its values by uplifting, defending, and transforming lives. And whereas social workers select the profession out of a deep commitment to help uplift, defend, and transform the lives of people, their families, and communities. And whereas the 2026 theme, Social Workers, Uplift, Defend, Transform, shines a light on the resolute spirit of social workers who transform lives while bringing hope, healing, and justice to the communities they serve, especially in times of profound change and challenges. And whereas social workers assist those navigating trauma, grief, and systemic biases, and help people recover from natural disasters, public health crises, and other issues while transforming their lives in encouraging ways. And whereas social workers will continue to stand ready to assist Calaveras County in overcoming present and future challenges, including supporting families with connecting to mental health treatment, educational resources, community programs, and services to promote self-sufficiency. I see a lot of these wonderful people in the room today. Do I have any comments?
Of course you do.
Thank you. Bailey?
Thank you. Today we recognize Social Worker Month and give thanks to our dedicated professionals serving our community in health and human services. Every day, our county social workers step into complex situations to support children, families, seniors, and individuals that are facing crisis. Whether they're supporting older adults and people with disabilities, protecting children, helping families, accessing food or housing or other supports and community resources, their work really strengthens the fabric of our community and builds a solid foundation for a lot of our residents. So social workers bring compassion, professionalism, and resilience to many challenges that a lot of people don't see. And they help people navigate systems, restore stability during hardship, and ensure that vulnerable residents are not facing life's difficulties alone. So I really just wanted to thank my team, especially our adults team during the storm we had, where they were reaching out to countless people that were snowed in and just stuck and trying to offer resources and help in the best way they could. It was really heartening to see them all band together the way that they did and really dive in and do that work. So I just wanted to thank all of my team that's here. And thank you guys for allowing the proclamation to move forward.
Any other comments? And I'll bring it back to the board for any comments.
Thank you, everyone, for all the work you do in your job. I know it is very challenging, and you see and deal with things that most people do not even realize are happening. So thank you for all the work you do. With that, I will make a motion.
I'd just like to say thank you as well, and especially during this last storm, having spoken to a lot of constituents myself, I know how much help was needed. And that's a huge lift. So thank you very much. And I'll second. Oh, sorry.
Okay, I just want to say thank you very much for all the work you guys do too. I appreciate everything you do. It can be very difficult at times, depending on what it is you're trying to get through and work on. And I really appreciate you. Thank you. Do we have a motion in a
We
second?
do. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now therefore, in recognition of the critical contributions of social workers in Calaveras County, the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors proclaimed the month of March 2026 as National Social Work Month and call upon everyone to join the National Association of Social Workers and Calaveras Health and Human Services in celebrating and supporting the vital work of social workers who uplift, defend, and positively transform our communities each and every day.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let's go. Not much. Yeah, there was. Well, thank you, Marcos. Yeah. He does.
They have to learn.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 2. Clerk,
Item 2, proclamation, Clerk of the Board of Supervisors, adopt a proclamation recognizing March 2026 as American Red Cross Month in Calaveras County.
and I will turn it over to Supervisor Hubbard.
Thank you, Chair. Whereas in March, we celebrate Red Cross Month by honoring the neighbors who make humanitarian mission of the American Red Cross possible in Calaveras County. And whereas for more than 145 years, the American Red Cross has provided relief, comfort, and hope to those in need, and this compassionate spirit continues to run deep within our community. And whereas in 2025, Calaveras County is served by 21 dedicated Red Cross volunteers who embody the mission of service. And whereas these volunteers have supported 7 local families through casework services, taught emergency preparedness to 207 kindergarten through 3rd grade students at Mark Twain Elementary School through the Prepare with Pedro program, and presented Be Red Cross Ready programs to more than 211 residents at local business clubs and Firewise events. And whereas volunteers serving with the Gold Country region provide critical services during emergencies by delivering shelter, food, and comfort to disaster survivors, ensuring a safe and life-saving blood supply for patients facing cancer treatments, childbirth complications, and traumatic injuries, supporting military members, veterans, and their families with 24/7 global assistance, and empowering individuals with life-saving skills such as first aid and CPR. And whereas these collective efforts demonstrate that the strength of Calaveras County lies in our shared commitment to care for one another and to ensure that no one faces an emergency alone. With that, I'll ask if there's any public comment.
Good morning. My name is Carolyn. I'm with the Red Cross. I've been a volunteer for about 11 years. I have helped in shelters. I have responded through our action response to structure fires or other disasters for individuals. I have also worked blood services. Currently, I'm the Regional Disaster Disability Integration Manager. I enjoy what I do. I love to help people, and that's what the Red Cross is all about.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lisa Baker. I'm one of the Red Cross volunteers here in the Motherlode. I have helped support the shelters we've had. We had 7 of them here in our Motherlode during the blizzard. I've deployed all over the country, and I'm also volunteer partner to our manager, Rebecca Mitch, and thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Martha?
Hi, good morning. Martha Rubin with the Red Cross. I just wanted to say how proud we are that during the storm up in Arnold, they came to our rescue and helped a lot of people. Okay.
Thank you. Laura? Oh, sorry.
Hi, my name's Tom Brower. I've been a volunteer for almost 2 years now. And it's been the best thing I've ever done to help people. Appreciate you guys having us here today too.
Thank you, Tom.
Hi, I'm Laura Bauman, and I'm the lead government. See, I don't even know what I'm doing yet because it's too new. But during the disaster that we just had for the 3 counties that we actually work with, we opened and operated 7 emergency shelters in just 9 days, provided approximately 800 to 1,000 meals. And we supported 225 overnight stays for all the communities that were affected. So thanks for the coordination we have with your offices and OES and the Sheriff's Department and Martin Hubbardy for District 3, which Martha and I live in. So thank you.
Actually, could I ask you really quickly, could you tell them what you're doing in our district?
So we are going around in Arnold to some of the more severe homes, and we're doing a walkabout around the homes, and we're teaching each family member about preparedness and home hardening around their home. And then we've got a contract where Rubicon is going to be coming in and helping those homes clear their lots. It's only a few houses that we'll be able to do, but we're going to try to do at least 20 through Rubicon, and we'll see how it goes. So, thank you.
Laura. Is there any public comment? I mean, online?
We have no online public comment.
I'll bring it back to the board.
For motion, for comments.
Comments.
I want to thank the Red Cross and your volunteers for everything you do. It is a volunteer organization, so you make the choice to do it. And I know that you're on a moment's notice. You get a phone call. You don't know what's going to happen with a disaster, what's going to happen, what it is or whatever, but you get it, you're ready to go and you go out and help. So I want to thank you very much for everything you guys do. So with that, I will make the motion.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors does hereby proclaim March 2026 as American Red Cross Month in Calaveras County and encourages all residents to recognize and support the humanitarian mission of the American Red Cross. Be it further proclaimed that we extend our sincere gratitude to the volunteers and supporters whose compassion and service make a lasting difference in our community. Thank you.
Okay, ready? Yeah. 2, 3. And 1. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is the general public comment. This is any item of interest to the public that's within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board and is not posted on the consent or regular agendas. So please make sure you pay attention to the light. I really don't want to stop you. So you've got 3 minutes. So any public comment?
Good morning, supervisors and neighbors. My name is Catherine Taylor, and my husband Mike and I own 2 acres in Arnold on the highway, and we've lived there for 6 years. We are no strangers to extreme weather, which is why I'm here today to comment on the county's response to the recent President's Day storm, and particularly how it was handled in the higher elevations. It does not feel like the county took this storm seriously for several reasons, and I'm concerned about the ability of our current Public Works Department to handle snowy terrain at all now. When Public Works met on Zoom with the residents of the Upper Highway 4 area, all they did was deny and gaslight. We were told plows were out, despite all of the residents saying that was not true. When asked about global positioning in the plows, we were told they did not have GPS because that does not work in our area. I assure you that GPS works not only in Arnold, but across the globe. I don't understand the communication response. The county was not equipped to handle the emergency, apparently, yet it doesn't seem like they asked for help outside the county. A local fire chief had to find help and even got some all the way from Ventura County. In past storms, we've had the governor declare a state of emergency. There seems to have been little to no attempt made to get the help from the state. It was hardly covered in the press, and most of my California state colleagues had no idea what was happening in Calaveras County. Typically, I receive a lot of texts and phone calls when we have a storm. Nobody knew, the county did not communicate. And to be clear, Facebook is not a public utility, and it is not acceptable as your only communication method with constituents. The property owners and businesses up the highway invest a lot via taxes, and we are not getting the basic public service we pay for while lower elevations are prioritized for snow removal. I think we can all agree that doesn't make sense financially or in matters of safety. I do not think the Director of Public Works has the chops for the job, and he should probably resign if he believes this was the right way to handle the situation. And he made it clear he does. Overall, I would like to thank the supervisors for getting the county emergency declared. And special thanks to Supervisor Hubbardie, who coordinated the removal of 5 feet of oak trunk and branches that PG&E laid down on the bottom of my driveway so I could not get out. He got that done immediately, and I really thank you for that. In the future, I really hope to see improved coordination, transparency from Public Works, and more transparency on how the dollars, tax dollars of residents and businesses are spent across the county. Thank you all.
Thank you. The public comment?
Good morning. My name is Christopher Butner, publisher of CalaverasWatchdog.com. Mr. Hubbardie, you exhibit a profound lack of judgment and self-awareness concerning your name appearing multiple times in the Epstein files and of how your connection to Jeffrey Epstein is being perceived. Having represented the business interests of the now disgraced Sarah Ferguson, you are either the sender, direct recipient, or copied in multiple emails and threads between yourself, Jeffrey Epstein, Sarah Ferguson, and numerous Epstein associates. Your direct participation in Sarah Ferguson's persistent financial dependency upon Jeffrey Epstein is evident to interested and astute readers of those emails. The material fact of your willful participation, while Jeffrey Epstein was serving a prison sentence for a sex crime against a child and soon afterward, is reprehensible. The manner by which your appearance in those emails may be regarded was exacerbated by your deceptive February 20th, 2026 Union Democrat interview, where you were quoted, "When I found out I was in the files, I let all the powers that be know that this was the case and nobody had an issue with it, nor should they." Responding to my February 23rd, 2026 Public Records Act request for your disclosures to members of the Calaveras County government of your appearance in the Epstein files, County Counsel Edwards responded that, following a reasonable search, the county has not located any documents responsive to my request. I challenge your assertion of informing all the powers that be of your multiple appearances in the Epstein files, and I allege you intentionally provided deceptive statements to the Union Democrat. As no physical or digital trail of your disclosures were found following a reasonable search for responsive records by Ms. Edwards, it appears that you gave no consideration to protecting the Calaveras government from scrutiny, nor the reputations of your colleagues who must now officially go on record confirming they had no issue with your appearance in the Epstein files. Mr. Huberty, with no responsive records located by County Council, it is fair to deduce that whatever disclosures made to your colleagues of your inappropriate appearance in the Epstein files were exclusively verbal. It would be imprudent of you to withhold from the public record the names that constitute your all of the powers that be list that I deduce consists of, at minimum, Sarah Edwards, Teresa Hitchcock, Ben Stopper, Gary Tofinelli, Amanda Follendorf, Autumn Andal, Judy Hawkins, Sheriff Rochelle Whiting, and DA Barbara Uke, all of whom must now respond to my allegation of your intentional deception. County Council Edwards must now create and distribute an official press release confirming or denying your statement that nobody on your all the powers that be list had an issue with it, nor should they. Be assured, Mr. Huberty, I'll accept nothing less. My name is Christopher Butner, publisher of Calaveras Watchdog.
Thank you. Really appreciate being here today. My name is Bonnie Randall. I also live in District 3 up in Arnold. Unlike my neighbor, Catherine, I did not bring kind of a prepared statement. I should have, but I'm going to kind of ad lib what so many of us went through during the recent storms. My husband and I own a thriving business up in Arnold called Hinter House Distilling. We're really proud to be in the county. I know just based on what we pay every month to the county, our customers have really come out in full support of who we are, what we produce, and why we do what we do. The plow situation has been probably up in Arnold, kind of gone rehashed and gone through by all of our neighbors, by all of my patrons. Last weekend, on a typical weekend, I'll have about 1,000 people walk through my distillery doors. Last weekend, probably a little bit fewer than that, but many, many hundreds of people come into Hinter House. And most of them wanted to tell me about their experience with the lack of plowing. We have lived here for a decade now, and it certainly was the very first of these really big events where my husband and I at our home didn't see a single plow, which was quite unusual. I don't want to beat a dead horse. There's a lot of things going on there, but I can definitely testify to the fact that it was very, very difficult getting around. My business had to be closed for 5 days. On day 6, when we were able to open, most people were not able to even reach us. We were helping our neighbors. It's the amazing thing about everyone in this county was I really do feel like we all help each other. We were delivering gas cans to an elderly neighbor. I had to snowshoe up to their house. None of us live on kind of remote areas. We're all in very large HOA communities. So I would just hope that the county and the Board of Supervisors kind of takes a very close look and hopefully seeks transparency from the Department of Public Works and Roadways. It was a real change from prior big storm events that we experienced. And as a citizen and a business owner, it definitely left me a bit uncomfortable moving forward. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to consent agenda. I'll let Stacy read out. Sorry, go for it.
Consent agenda items are expected to be routine and non-controversial. They will be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. Any board member, staff member, or interested party may request the removal of an item from the consent agenda for later discussion.
Is there any staff member, Judy?
I need to pull
11?
number 12.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. 12?
Number 6. Sorry, number 6.
Okay, are there any other staff members that wish to pull on a consent agenda item? Okay, coming back to the board, is there any other board members that wish to pull a consent agenda item? Okay,
I will
Yeah.
move the remaining.
I need to do public comment,
Oh, okay.
but, well,
The balance of the consent, we don't do public comment.
Okay. then, yeah, you've made a motion. You just want to cover my butt.
I'll second. Second.
I got a motion in a second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so we've got 3 items that have been pulled, so we'll start with number 6, Stacy.
Item 6, resolution, clerk of the Board of Supervisors. 1, receive a report of the clerk's review of the Public Educational and Government PEG Television Commission, and 2, adopt a resolution disbanding PEG Television Commission.
I just wanted to pull this item because PEG TV and that commission, and we reorganized that commission back in 2018. And I know things have changed drastically between now and then. We were dependent a lot on cable TV at that time, and our shows were going on there, and the commission was functioning. Since then, everything's kind of changed a little bit. So I don't even know the last time the commission met. They haven't presented to us at the board anything in recent years, but I just wanted to say that it may come back at some time. You don't know what's going to happen in the future, but PEG TV is something that I really appreciate here in Calaveras County. It's really a good thing, and it gives a lot of youngsters a chance to get involved in TV cameras, sound, production, and everything else. So I just wanted to put that out there for PEG TV.
Any other comment? Any public comment? No? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Okay, we'll move on to item 11.
Item 11, resolution, human resources, adopt a revised resolution authorizing the industrial disability retirement of Deputy Sheriff Manuel Garcia.
I need to revise the revised edition and we'll bring back at the next meeting.
Okay. Is that, we don't, okay. Thank you, Judy. We'll move on to item number 12.
Item 12, a resolution, Sheriff, 1, accept 1 dual-purpose patrol K-9 and associated training services in the amount of $18,300 from the Friends of Calaveras Sheriff's Office. 2, find that the donation is made in favor of the county for a public purpose. 3, approve the necessary budget transfer adjustments to reflect the donation and expenditures within the Sheriff's Office fiscal year 2025-26 budget. And 4, adopt a resolution of gratitude recognizing FOCSO for their continued support of the Calaveras County Sheriff's Office requires a 4/5 vote.
Good morning. Calaveras Sheriff Rochelle Whiting. The reason I pulled this item that's before you today is, of course, I'm hoping you guys are still going to accept it, but we didn't want to just to pass on consent. We really want to highlight and acknowledge the Friends of the Calaveras Sheriff's Office and the significant contributions that we are receiving from them that is allowing us to expand our programs and services outside of the general fund. You have already passed and accepted a previous donation that got us over $100,000 to buy a brand new patrol vehicle equipped for a K-9. And not that I wanted to sway your vote or anything. And thank you to Director Medina for highlighting Belgian Malinois breed today. I'd like to introduce you to our newly selected K-9 handler, Deputy Christopher Rhodes, and hopefully his new partner, Cairo. Cairo is about a little younger than a year and a half. He's bred from Europe into California, and we worked with Top Dog Police consulting in order to get him. And we're hoping, if you accept our donation today, that Deputy Rhodes and Deputy Cairo will be put in service in the patrol division and start undergoing their training that we would not be able to accomplish if it wasn't for the donations of Friends of the Sheriff. So we're just asking you to accept that. Plus, look at that little face. Canine Titan is lonely. He wants a partner. All right. Come on up, Chris. I realize this is just to accept the one donation. Lisa's probably gonna try and throw him in the car as well on the way out of here. But we're really excited for Cairo. Malinois, like Lisa already noted, are very intelligent. The quality of canine training, law enforcement canine training we have got from Top Dog has been exceptional over the years with a great partnership, and we're really looking forward to putting him in service. Any questions from the board?
Questions? Nope, I don't see any public comment, any other public comment? Seeing none, okay. Does the dog have any? Did you have Yeah.
He works for treats,
Ready to
just like
get worse. He's looking for his girlfriend. With that, we'll bring back the board at their motion.
I'll make a motion.
I did already. Sorry, yes, I did.
I'll move
There's
this item.
I'll second.
Moved by Supervisor Toffenelli, second by Supervisor Randolph. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Passes 5-0. Thank you. We'll move on to the regular,
Can we take a 5-minute break?
yes, we can take a 5-minute break. Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break. Yes. Okay, thank you. We have PG&E here, and I would like to ask the board if we can move 16 up. Since they have, they're here for the informational item, and then we'll go back to the regular agenda status. Is that okay with the rest of the board? Okay, thank you.
Best vote.
That is your prerogative as chair.
I know, I just wanna, okay. Okay, so we will go down to item 16, clerk.
Item 16, informational item, Administrative Office, receive a presentation from PG&E regarding recent storm-related power outages, downed power lines, and the deployment of additional resources to restore service. PG&E will also introduce their newly assigned government liaison for Calaveras County.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Teresa, and team here in Calaveras County, Nathan Alonso with Pacific Gas and Electric, part of the local government affairs team. This morning, wanted to come before you and give a couple of quick updates around some policy and some other important customer-related issues, and then wanted to give a quick update on our efforts in restoring customers and some of the other things that we did during the recent series of storms, which especially hit this community hard. So a quick update, I sent an email out last week, and then you had gotten a previous one maybe a month before that, that for the fourth and fifth time in 2 years, PG&E was reducing residential customer rates. This is around an overall effort around affordability, which is a word that all of us are very familiar with, and something that our residents and customers are asking a lot about. So customers should see between a 3% and 5% dip in their bill, about $25 a month. Not a ton, we recognize that, but this is hopefully something that gains momentum on our end, and with collaboration with local government partners such as yourselves, we can continue to go to the commission and to the legislature and see what else we can do in order to bring the cost of energy and residential customer bills down. So this morning we have a number of members of the PG&E local team that run operations, the customer-facing front, and we also wanted to come before you to introduce your new local contact in government affairs. So introducing this team, we have Marcus McElwain, who is the Superintendent of Electric Distribution Operations here for this portion of the Central Valley. He and Rob Cosmero, who is part of his team, were the ones leading the efforts to gain access, assess, and restore all of the customers of Calaveras County during this last series of storms. He and his team were working 16-hour days for almost 2 weeks straight in order to help make that happen. We have Tracy Mello, who's the regional senior manager, who is in charge of our customer facing team. These are the folks that when you have a problem with your bill, they will call, they will go over it with you. We will troubleshoot any issues. If you have any other needs, that team is the one that troubleshoots them. And then Ellen Brittingham, which is going to be your new LGA rep. So with that, I will now pass it over to Marcus McElwain, who will give a summary of our efforts during the storm. Marcus.
All right, good morning. My name is Marcus McElwain. I'm the electric superintendent, Stockton Division with Pacific Gas and Electric. I was the IC on the event, the last event that we had here in Calaveras County and Amador. This morning, I just want to give a small update on what we had happen during this event. During our recent storm events, we responded and restored over 16,000 customers, almost 17,000 customers between the two sides of the hill. During this event, most of the event we spent in Calaveras County, with most of the damage being in Arnold and Dorrington areas. That's where we had the most customers affected. During this event, we had a total of 178 crews on the hill. We had 78 just electric crews there to restore power. We had 30 crews with the vegetation management side, cleared almost 1,000 trees for hazard locations. We brought in all available equipment. We had an upwards number of 9 snowcats total between PG&E and working with mountain medics for the rescues. This event, the conditions were challenging for us, most with the low snow, the snow accumulation on the trees. took us several days to finally start getting access, clearing the hazard areas, getting the wires up, making it safe for our crews to go in and start restoring power. We're proud to call out our team's effort. We worked with Mountain Medics. It was a cross collaborational event, right? We had gas crews out there, traffic crews. When we say 178 total crews, we had 78 that were just out there, electric crews. The other 100 were traffic crews, veg crews, everybody else that came together to make this event happen. During our rescue in the first 3 days, we rescued 128 customers working with the county and other people we had in to support us on that event. We understand that the impacts and the outages the storms have on our community. Our objectives were to restore customers as quickly and as safely as possible. And on this event, we got that done with 0 safety incidents. Just want to throw out our appreciation to everybody on this one. I know that we got hit with a series of events back to back, 3 events, safety being our #1 priority, trying to get in and safely assess and get the power restored as quickly as possible. But it wouldn't have been possible without all of our cross-functional collaboration between the county, the OES, Sheriff's Department, Fire Department, everybody that was involved in that. So I just want to take the time to say thank you guys for that. And that's all I got for my update.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Mill. I'm the Regional Senior Manager for the Central Valley region, and I cover Stockton Yosemite divisions. I wanted to share some highlights on the customer support during the recent event, as outlined by Marcus. As customer service officer, my team and I served as a crucial bridge between our customers and our field teams. Our priority was to ensure that everyone affected received timely updates, reassurance, and clear information about outages and restoration progress. By constantly monitoring the status of impacted areas, we were able to relay essential information to our field folks, and that helped us prioritize urgent situations and direct aid to those with those special needs. Throughout the event, we focused on providing both compassionate support and practical solutions, answering questions, coordinating welfare checks, and connecting community members with additional resources when needed. Things, hotel stays if necessary, generators, CRC centers for those who needed to come and get water, charge their phones, things like that. So by reaching out with notifications, anticipated restoration timelines, and safety guidance tailored to the rapidly changing storm conditions, it's never an exact science, right? As we all know, this storm was very dynamic. And with those changing conditions, we did our best to provide the information to the customers of Calaveras County. It's always a trick finding over communication, under communication, where customers want to hear that, right? So we did our best, and also anticipating waiting for the crews to go out and do those assessments before we had concrete information, right? So with that, it is the partnership between Marcus's team out in the field and the customer team, my team, communicating with you folks, with the community, right? And getting that information in real time and back was our goal, right? To be able to reassure folks that we are here and we are serving them in their time of need. So thank you. And I'll now turn it off. Ellen.
Chair, Vice Chair, Supervisors, my name is Ellen Brittingham. I'm the new Government Relations Representative for the region. I'm super excited to be able to serve you all as a partner for the county, but most importantly as a resource for you and your staff in this community. This role is a privilege of a lifetime for me. I was raised in this community for the majority of my childhood, so I'm proud to be back serving the community that helped shape me. So look forward to working with you all on behalf of PG&E and looking forward to being a resource for you.
Any questions?
Board.
Thank you. First off, I just want to thank you. The work that you guys did. I know that you pulled crews from Yosemite, Stockton, San Francisco, all over the place. And I live just off the highway, so that armada of PG&E trucks that would come down the hill at the end of the day was unbelievable. the conditions that you had to work in were unbelievable as well. And I just really wanted to thank Marcus, Rob, Tracy, and you, Nathan, for all the work that you did do. It was tough. I'd love to know on a scale of 1 to 10 how bad this storm was for you compared to other storms. Because to me, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it in our area with the amount of lines that came down. I don't know if Marcus could speak to that, but
I'd say a 10.
He said 11. He said 11.
Just the numbers below, you guys can see. Butte Fire Group. 2,300 locations. This one here was 2,000 locations, so it took us 22 days on the fire to get the customers restored. We're back within 7 on this one, so a lot of people, a lot of work on that one. So
I have a constituent who wants to know what you did with the old wires. He wants to build a horse corral, and he said that. So,
we got enough of them down, so we could build a couple.
what do you do with all that? Because you guys were putting in brand new wire. You were just cutting out the old that was on the ground or leaning, and then put in new wires. What happens to all that old wire?
Gets recycled. Yeah, everything. We had multiple laydown yards, so that was one of our biggest issues, was where we could store all this stuff. So we had, Rob could correct me, but I think we had 7 or 8 laydown yards to bring everybody in. Like you said, we had people coming in from San Francisco, Central Coast, Pismo, all hands. Everybody that wasn't on vacation was working this event. But yeah, we had 3 laydown yards where we had scrap bins, all our stuff. We had a full team separating all that.
You did it really quickly. I mean, the amount that of wire, everything else that you brought up it was magnificent. Is I guess the word I want to use. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you.
I did have one other question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Okay.
Oh, never mind.
And I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
Marcus, if you could answer.
I
I do know that there were some questions and there were some issues when the storm first came. And it was within the communication between the county and PG&E. And I was going to ask if our public works director could speak to that.
Yeah, definitely. And I know I'll let him speak too, but I know, just so everybody's clear, my first major event up here in this area, right? So I know we still got some communication gaps that we can close up there. We did put some new stuff in place this event though, to clear that gap up after the first one. So working on our hazard file that we shared with you guys. So we had our KMZ file with every hazard location with details on each location. So if we had access to an area that we didn't have, that had wires down, poles down, trees down, we noted all that on there with KMZ files with the Google overlay of exactly where all the hazard locations were. We prioritized those with the fire department on what priority customers we had to evacuate first. We started on wellness checks and getting the people out of making it safe was our first thing throughout the first 3 days. So once we got that cleared up, we were safe, we were able to get in there and get access. Then we started marking all of our work locations, right? We had over 2,000 of those. One of our biggest things with communication was first wave came in, knocked everything down. Then it covered it all in snow, right? So we can't even see where the poles were set. We couldn't see anything. We had 3 of those waves coming on top of us. So multiple duplications of stuff, right? We go in and assess, then the storm come back in, knock it down, we'd go back in and reassess. So getting that communication, dialing in those KMZ files, exactly where the hazards were and exactly what locations we needed to go work, making sure that we didn't have any duplicates on there or duplicating our efforts and making sure we had the right priorities.
Thank you. Thank you.
Say nice things about
it. Thank you, Supervisor Hubbard, for allowing me the opportunity to speak to Public Works experience in this event. As mentioned before at our last update at our recent board meeting, it was quite a challenging event for Public Works. As some of the comments, from the public earlier today indicated, yes, our storm response to this event was vastly different than it has been in the past. And what I want to say to that is that there's circumstances that are beyond our control. And there's things that we are at the mercy of others to allow them to do their job first before we could do ours. And I think PG&E's description of their involvement is indicative of that. So not that I want to, make excuses or blame anybody else, but the early days of the storm was very touch and go with regards to us being able to deploy our resources where they needed to be difficulty with communication with PG&E on knowing where their crews were, where all the down power lines were, knowing what roads were safe to plow. And in the 3-4 days of the storm, on all of our EOC calls, I begged for information from PG&E. I begged for information to know exactly where we can put our plows, how we could work with them. The communication left a lot to be desired. So I'm highlighting this to kind of shed some light a little bit on some of the challenges we faced as a public works department with our plowing operations, and hopefully there's some understanding there. I can say that in the past, from working with the other crews and members of my department, communication was significantly better. This is based on past experience. This was probably one of the worst experiences we've had with communication with regards to trying to coordinate our efforts in what needed to be done. So Nathan Alonso was an excellent help. Him and I talked daily. We finally got to a point where we started receiving the communication like we needed to, and we finally started making the headway and progress that we wanted to. We wish that it had happened sooner, but it did happen nonetheless. And as they mentioned, there is a significant number of down power poles, down power lines, all tangled in the trees, all in the roadway, buried in snow. The amount of snow we received in such a short period of time really hampered that effort, right? And then, of course, you all know, as snow continues to accumulate, it takes longer to plow. It's more difficult to plow. The type of equipment you need becomes more significant. So all these things compounding against each other really had an impact on our operations. So, and I'll just say one more thing to the communication. Marcus is here. First time I've heard his name or seen the gentleman we haven't even met. And I'm kind of disappointed that he was the incident command and the superintendent for PG&E during the incident. I wish we had a chance to connect and communicate, because I think things could have gone a lot smoother if we had. So hopefully this is a good feedback that we could all take away from it and have an opportunity to have a better plan in place for the next storm, so that we don't experience this and inconvenience our residents any more than they need to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Micah. I don't have any other questions.
Okay, and then board item.
Thank you all for coming. To echo others, Nathan, thank you for answering my calls and my emails and for keeping the communication going. And my ask is just that we, like you've all said, move forward from this and communicate stronger earlier, because that's everything. For us with our constituents, just us having answers calms them significantly. And I get it. I live just below 3,000 feet. We were buried. It was all around us, and further up the hill in District 2 in West Point was an absolute war zone. I think, Marcus, you referenced Butte Fire. It kind of was reminiscent to that, the aftermath, and people are still dealing with it. So thank you for what you did. Ellen, welcome. Make sure I have your cell phone.
Yes.
And
I don't have business cards yet, but I'll be sure to leave that information.
yeah, and let's grow from this experience. Thank you for all you did.
Any other board question, comment? No. I have a question / comment, and I realize the sheriff's office is not in here, but, and maybe this isn't an answer for today. It may be the takeaway, to build something better in the future. Even though I'm on the lower elevation, I still got calls. So I was calling the sheriff's office asking, because many in the community still had questions. They had investments up the hill. They were trying to figure out how they were going to get to those either businesses, homes, what have you. One of the questions I did get, and I'm going to put more of my IC hat on, is, and listening to what PG&E said, it seems like there were too many chiefs in the room, and the communication was severely broken down. Everyone knew what they were doing under their own unit, but we weren't putting that under one roof. And I understand that there were Zoom calls, but everyone was making each organization seemed to be making their own calls on what was happening, and it wasn't conveying to the next I'm gonna pick on Micah, that wasn't getting conveyed to Public Works, so they could actively do their jobs effectively, or vice versa, and then out to the community. So even though this was a localized event, my question is why wasn't, instead of doing a DOC, why a EOC wasn't created under this? And I know that in normal circumstances in the past, we have always had a DOC, but this was unprecedented. So how can we build from that, and what then triggers from a DOC to an EOC so we can be more effective together, collectively to get that response? And I just, it's more feedback, but if you have answers.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair and Supervisors. So we did participate on the daily cooperators meetings. I will say that on those daily cooperators meetings, that's where your team and the emergency operations front on the county facilitates communication between all agencies involved. So you're involved, we're involved, and then Caltrans and maybe some of the other folks that have a hand in responding to the emergency are involved. So we had a designated PG&E on those calls throughout the course of the event. Will Harris, our public safety specialist. I do want to touch on a couple of the points that Micah made, and that is that we recognize and we will own, we will improve any gaps in our communication. I can say that this was a learning experience and maybe a stretch for everyone involved, being that this was as heavy and a storm that packed quite a punch. During the first day or two, as we were making sure that we were resourcing up in order to meet the call, we were also resourcing up what that communication structure would look like. So at the beginning, it was those daily cooperator calls, but then it evolved to bringing a couple of supervisors in, county staff, into an immediate briefing with Marcus and Rob, Micah, Teresa, and a few others to talk about what we were seeing out in the field, what response would look like, what gaining access, what those challenges were for us. So that way we could get into the assessment mode and then the restoration front. So as the event evolved, we scaled up hopefully in order to meet the moment. And from there on, we made sure that we had multiple people on those cooperators calls giving updates on what was going on our end. And then that was also paired with the nightly outage updates that I was sending out personally to all of you. So we will own the parts that are ours and ensure that we are being good partners to you in making sure that the next time we get quite the storm, we are over communicating instead of maybe feeling like we under communicated. I do want to, if maybe Marcus or Rob want to talk about some of the coordination that we did have for most of the event with the public works folks in order to get roads cleared and progress made on that front.
Yeah, if there's any more questions on, I can answer them, but I know we touched on the communication at the beginning, and there's always better. We could always close that gap a little bit more, but we did have those calls. As I see, I did introduce myself. We've had multiple calls with agencies before. Also, Rob was in contact with Monica daily, giving updates. Once we came up with those files, once we assessed and we knew where those locations were, we shared those files with Public Works also. On there, I shared my phone number. My personal phone number is on there. If anybody ever needs to get a hold of me, I put it right there in the chat. So if there's any questions, if we need to get a representative over with you guys, I know we did that with the fire department this time. We stationed a person with them. So if we can do anything like that to close the communication gaps, our OEC is always wide open. If anybody wants to be stationed with us to help us close that communication gap, but anything we can do, we can always get better. So, I thought with the way we did it with the files and the hazard location, we had 4 people just assigned to that tracker alone that was tracking those resources, updating the notes on all hazard locations, what % we had cleared on the roads, what our priorities were and everything on there. So if there's anything we could clean up on any of that, I'm open for feedback and on all that. So.
And I think some of it is not just not on PG&E. I know the county is going through a change. We're going through a shift ourselves with reorganization. I just, the strain on resources wasn't just on PG&E, it was also on county and our partners. And, I look at what CTA support was, that was taking buses off a normal route to help with the evacuation. But, once it gets to that, yes, it might be a local event, but it is now, and this is more to county staff too, this is now stringing on resources outside of that area countywide. And so when it's just phone call rather than everyone being in the same room and getting those briefings, it caused, even though those individuals who want to help, it caused that kind of sense of anxiety, like we don't know what's going on, but we're going to show up, And so I just want to make sure that we all, it's just the feedback I got, and I understand the rationale, but it just was unprecedented for everyone. And so I just hope we really come together in the future, especially with county staff too, like what our normal operations may have been. We definitely have some improvement, and I'd rather be you talk about over communication, I'd rather be overly stacked up than just sitting. I don't know. I just, from the outside looking in the phone calls I was getting, it just the other feedback of it all. So thank you. And I do appreciate you guys all coming here today. It's nice to put faces to names and build that relationship so we do have a successful, hopefully not like this, but whatever, we build that success for the future with the relationships today. So thank you.
Chair, I just wanted to say that thank you again. And I think it's hugely important, and your points are well taken, that we get all of this out in the open before fire season starts too, because we should learn from these lessons. And with the amount of devastation that was up there, I just thank you for getting my constituents online as quickly as you did.
And our biggest thing is accurate communication too, right? So when we start communicating out at the beginning of the event, like we said, when it gets leveled like that, and then we have to come back in and we're reassessing that multiple times, is once we get that information, is making sure that we're relaying out accurate information too, right? We want to make sure that everything we're giving out to you guys is on point, so we're not going back and changing things later, right? So that was one of the big things that we faced at the front, was getting those hazard locations, but making sure that the information that we're putting there is actually accurate, right? That it's an actual hazard, that we have our wires down, that it's not phone wires, right? And we're prioritizing all that on our side too. So anything we can do to fix that communication, make it better at the beginning next time.
CEO, did you have anything? You keep looking at me, so I just wanted to make sure.
So talking with Will Harris in the first 4 days, trying to stress what we were doing in the first 4 days is doing whatever we could, right? We had no access, we had standing down crews because of hazards. So the first 4 days, there wasn't much information to give. And they were wanting information and we couldn't give it, right? Because all we're doing is trying to gain access and standing down crews and getting in where we can, helping for the 911, that kind of stuff. So all I have to say is those first 4 days, they were expecting more from us and there's not much we could have done. So that's all I have to say.
And on that, I just touched too, sorry to jump back in, but we did a ton outside of our normal scope in those first 4 days, right? We had trees down across Highway 4. We had line crews that restored power, cutting trees. We were clearing phone wires. We were clearing trees. We did everything that we could to help support outside of our realm of restoring power also, right? So during that first 4 days, we had all hands on deck doing everything we could to clear access, to get access to those roads, to make it safe for the public too. So that was a big part of that.
And I'll just think we're good on comments, so I think we'll close out, not to monopolize the rest of your board meeting time. I'm leaving my information with the clerk. So if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm, like I said, privileged of a lifetime to come back and serve the community that shaped me. So looking forward to working and collaborating with you moving forward.
So I did want to say just a couple of things. You've heard from PG&E and the tremendous amount of work that they had to do in order to just make things safe. Obviously, our road crews could not be in those areas until we knew that lines were de-energized or that some of that stuff was taken care of. The county did declare a state of emergency so that we could get additional CAL FIRE resources in because of the number of trees. You heard PG&E say that they cleared 1,000 trees themselves. It was unprecedented. And as much as I know the community was frustrated, and who wouldn't be frustrated to be snowed in for a week or more, it's certainly understandable, but the storm was definitely not your average storm. And so I would say that we were frustrated at the beginning because of the communication, but PG&E did come to the table and develop their process in order for us to know exactly what was going on with their resources and what they were working on so that we could get our plows out there. I feel like some of those things we will leave in place, and so we'll be better prepared for the next event. And although this was not a normal storm, we will probably be applying some of these lessons learned to some of our just more everyday mundane storms as well. So I think as frustrating as it was, we all learned some very valuable lessons, and we're better prepared for the next event that we know will happen.
If there's no other board comment, I do have to do public comment. So is there any other public comment? I see none in the
We
room.
do have a online.
You do?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
We have Elizabeth Faust.
Okay, and clerk, will you be letting them know when the time's up? Okay.
Yes. Okay. Elizabeth, you can speak now and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, I did submit a question in writing. Basically, I think we still need a town hall here in Arnold for all of the areas that were affected by this storm. It was brought up at the EPOC meeting last week, I think. It should be scheduled soon. I would like to see it scheduled in the evening so people who work can attend. A lot of the things I'm concerned about did begin to be addressed today at this meeting, at your board meeting today, as to like, why did this happen? We didn't really get a very good explanation of that last week. In fact, we got none. We were told that the roads were plowed when we saw with our own eyes they weren't. So I think that we need the town hall because more people need to hear this. I'm glad to see that these things are being addressed as to like why it happened. We all know what happened, why it happened, and what solutions are going to be put in place to prevent people being stranded for days in their homes because the roads weren't plowed. I think everybody's main concern is the roads. We lost other services, but we're prepared. We all are prepared. Somebody stated last week that we weren't, but everybody here knows we might lose power, we might lose cell phone service, but people were running out of like propane and fuel for their generators, and also dealing with that, the cable went out, so we had no Wi-Fi or internet, and people couldn't do their work, whether it was personal bills or trying to work from home. At the end, Verizon even fell, and all we could do was text or call. We couldn't get online to do anything significant that we need to do in our lives. But all those things could have been solved by having roads plowed if we could have gotten out. And I can't, I used to live in Bear Valley and I knew my roads weren't going to be plowed. So we had over snow access. The mountain rolled the roads so you could pass them with cross-country skis, walking, whatever. Not many people had ski-doos back then. But the main thing is the roads needed to be plowed. And I just really think we need a town hall to be scheduled. And I think that the people who spoke today, if they could be there, would be fantastic, because people need to need to know that it's being worked on. I've lived here.
Elizabeth, I apologize. Your 3 minutes is up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We also have another online comment.
Okay, with that, we'll bring it back to the board. This was just,
We have one more, sorry.
oh, you do, sorry.
Yes.
I admit that. I was looked, yep. Sorry.
Beth, go ahead and speak, please.
Yeah, Rodney and Beth
Oh.
Winkler, we're up in Big Trees, Dorrington, and 21-year resident. And the issue that I see, I'm a professional driver, equipment operator. We found out that the county only has one blower for the whole area. So in my opinion, I think lack of equipment is key to getting these roads cleared when we need them cleared. Just pushing snow with dump trucks and blades just doesn't cut it. The blowers do a better job. What I see happening, and there's a constant tug of war between getting the road cleared and the local contractors doing the driveways. Your trucks come by and create these huge berms. Now, some of us, we can deal with it, but there's a lot of older senior citizens that can't get out there and dig a berm out. So we get gridlocked, can't get out of our homes. So I would hope that you guys could take a little better look at the amount of equipment and do some upgrades, get some better equipment. I've been kind of researching other counties, what they're doing, and some of the counties are actually renting blowers during the winter season. So maybe because of cost restraints, that might be a good direction to investigate. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, want to thank Martin too. I think he did a fabulous job. He was out there a lot, and I know a lot of the residents really appreciate that. And of course, everybody involved, they were doing a great job. This was a very brutal storm, not your everyday, but it is a good learning lesson, and we need to be better prepared. Thank you.
Any more online?
We have no further online public comment.
Okay, and no in the room, we'll bring it back to the board. This was an informational item only. So PG&E, all of you, thank you for being here today. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to a strong relationship and partnership going on into the future. So with that, we will move on to our next agenda item. Have a good day. So the next, we'll go back to regular agenda item 14, Clerk.
Item 14, action item, Administrative Office, authorize the county executive officer to negotiate a financing agreement with the California Infrastructure and Economic Development Bank for the construction of Calaveras County Animal Services Facility, consistent with the terms and conditions of the Infrastructure State Revolving Fund Program.
Yeah, good morning, Vice Chair Follinger, members of the board. Since joining Calaveras County in 2023, I have worked closely with this board to understand your priorities and to align county operations and resources with the direction that you set. Among the many needs across our organization, 2 capital improvement projects have consistently risen to the top of your priority list. One of those is the long-delayed and much-needed animal services facility. I want to be clear about my role in this process. It is not my job to advocate for specific projects. My responsibility is to take the priorities identified by this board and find practical, responsible, and achievable pathways to make them happen. The Animal Services Facility is a prime example of that work. The existing animal shelter in San Andreas has been the subject of community concern for many years. It is undersized, outdated, and lacks the systems and space necessary to meet modern standards for public health, safety, and animal care. The facility has insufficient housing capacity, inadequate medical treatment areas, and no proper intake isolation. Conditions that increase the risk of preventable disease outbreaks and limit our ability to serve the public effectively. The new 10,555 square foot animal services facility will address these longstanding deficiencies. It will provide modern medical treatment and surgery areas, proper quarantine and intake spaces, improved visitor flow and customer service areas, durable, energy-efficient building systems, expanded outdoor exercise yards, and importantly, a safer and healthier environment for both animals and staff. The project will also generate an estimated 130 construction jobs supporting local economic activity. Now I'm going to talk about the financing approach. To move this project forward without compromising general fund liquidity, and I want to stress that we do have quite a bit of funding on our county capital account, but we don't want to deplete that because if there were to be an economic downturn or an economic event, we would need that liquidity to offset county costs through the recession in order for us to minimize impacts to staffing or other services. So we are requesting authorization to negotiate a financing agreement with the California Infrastructure and Economic Development Bank, IBank, through its Infrastructure State Revolving Loan Program. This financing structure is familiar to the county. It is similar to the leaseback financing we currently use for the state for the jail facility. Under this model, the county leases designated property to IBank. We lease designated property to IBank. IBank leases it back to the county. The county makes annual lease payments for the term of the financing. At the end of the term, the property fully reverts back to the county. This approach provides predictable, long-term tax-exempt financing and avoids the need for a large upfront capital outlay, again, reserving the county's liquidity for future events. Key proposed financing terms, the financing amount that we've requested is $10 million. That is worst-case scenario. Hopefully, the shelter comes in lower than that. We do want to make sure that we have appropriate funding levels to finish the project. The estimated annual payment will be $605,221. The term is up to 30 years. The interest rate is 4.39% and includes the servicing fee. The origination fee is 1%, which will be financed into the financing agreement. Annual servicing fee is 0.15 of the outstanding balance. Again, that's in the financing agreement. Rate lock right now, 90 days after IBank approval, which we were approved for this financing through IBank. The 90 days is to give us an opportunity to negotiate the agreement at the 4.39%, which then would be locked in for the 30-year period. IBank's approval is conditional and not a guarantee. Final financing depends on successful negotiation of a mutually acceptable agreement and compliance with all ISRF program requirements. This financing allows the county to advance a board-identified priority project, avoid delays associated with alternative funding mechanisms. And just to be clear, we have been continuously looking for grants or other infrastructure supports. We just have not been able to identify any that would allow us to construct this facility. This also preserves general fund stability, addresses long-standing public health and safety concerns, and of course, it's replacing a facility that has exceeded its useful life. The alternative is to continue to operate in the current building, and we don't believe that that does meet the needs of community staff or the animals in our care. So right now, I want to talk a little bit about the plan for repayment. We do have a plan for repayment. Our repayment plan would be to create a specific repayment account where we would deposit $1 million from the county capital account. And then, as many of you know, we paid off our HVAC loan this year, which freed up $290,000 of an annual payment that we were making on the HVAC systems. The other funding that we'd like to put into that account is the IWM payback. As you know, we loaned money to our integrated waste management services for the cell construction. They're paying that back at $500,000 a year over 8 years. because it was a $4 million loan. So because came from county capital and that would be funding that we would have had towards this facility had we not made that loan, we believe it's appropriate to put that money towards the payment of this facility. The estimated payment is $600,000. At the end of year one, we would have almost $1.8 million in that account for payback. The animal shelter payment is $600,000 a year. With those funding sources, we could pay that payment for 11 years out of those funding sources. At year 10, this county has some certificates of participation that we took out that use the government center as collateral. And if you remember, we did an asset exchange where we put the HHSA building up against the COPs. At the end of 10 years, the COPs are paid off. That COP payment is $600,000 a year. So essentially it could be used to pay the payments for the rest of the term. So today we're asking the board to authorize the county executive officer to negotiate a financing agreement with IBank consistent with the terms and conditions of the ISRF program. Once negotiations are complete, the final agreement will return to your board for approval. So with that, I'm open to any questions from the board or.
Are there any board questions or do you want me to go for public comment first?
So public comment first.
Okay, we'll do a public comment first. So we'll start in the room and then we will pivot to online. And please be aware of the time clock on there. But yes, and then we'll start with staff. Sorry, Lisa. Yo, come on, Lisa. We'll start with staff.
Good morning, Board. Lisa Medina, Environmental Management Agency Administrator and an Animal Services Director. I am here today to urge you to support the financing agreement for our new animal shelter. We would like to thank our staff and community for their ongoing efforts and support, our volunteers that work hard every day in and out to support the animals under our care, our partners, Focus, our Humane Society, Gimme Shelter folks, Angels Camp Fairground staff, and our veterinarians that donate their time for our free clinics and that are always available for us in response to critical events, including a very recent one where we had to respond and intake 12 dogs. And currently our CCA staff are boots on the ground right now responding and getting 17 more animals to our shelter for safety. Our local shelter is not just a place for neglected, abandoned, and lost and found pets. It is a critical public safety and community service that always is at a breaking point due to high intake, staffing, and resources. By investing in a new shelter, we are not only investing in our community, our staff, and then those animals that come into our care, but it also highlights an increased awareness for the adoptable animals that need their forever homes. We do this by offering preventative services, including our food pantry, our free vaccine and microchip clinics that help keep their pets at home with their humans. Public safety and health. And I can't tell you how many responses we have to potential rabid animals and things that would definitely ensure the safety of our community. And we properly do that by managing and vaccinating and control those items in our community. All these actions support our community values, which reflect our county's commitment to compassion and humane treatment of our Calaveras animals. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Any other staff? Okay, we'll go into public comment.
Hi, I'm Ann Dash from Gimme Shelter. And I know what it takes for me to manage just my personal finances. So I cannot imagine what you have gone through to put this together. And it is something that we have waited for so long. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for doing all of that work. I know people have worked very diligently on this. And I am really looking forward to the day when the money that we've raised at Gimme Shelter can be thrown into the pot. And I understand that one of the things we're looking at is there's some items that are not covered by the construction loan. So we may be putting our brand on the commercial washer and dryer and some things like that. So again, thank you. And I am just, on behalf of everybody here, it's like, we are so pleased to finally be at this point. So keep working. Thanks.
Thank you. The other, yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
I too want to thank you very much, Jamie, Teresa, and this board, and Sarah too. You guys have been fantastic. You've been the best board since I've lived here, and I've lived here 35 years. So I know there are a lot of people out here that lived here longer than this. So we thank you very, very, very much for all your time and effort. And we'll never be able to thank you enough unless you vote against it. So everybody here, I think, joins me in saying, job well done. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments in the, Vicky? Good morning.
Good morning. Haven't been here in a while. I want to make sure that you know I'm not speaking against building this building because I know this has been on the agenda for probably 20 years. And these dedicated people, I understand their frustrations for sure, because you know me, I've been coming back and forth here for different issues. But what I do want to talk about is the financing and our government and our tax dollars and how you are responsible for that as elected officials. And that's what I want to talk about. And it seems that the reason this facility has never been built in this county for 20 years is always comes down to we can't afford it. Although perhaps there is better ways to do it without, I'm going to use the term top of the line building. That's what I'm seeing. There's got to be other alternatives. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the $10 million loan. And I see Teresa's found some money to stick in an account to maybe help pay that off for a couple, maybe 10 years, maybe. We know government, we know our finances, they're never on track. There's always some crisis, which as a citizen, I would like to keep fighting with the state about that kind of stuff because it's ridiculous. But anyway, so my questions are, I know the payback of the loan, when you borrow up to $10 million, you pay interest, and that loan is no longer $10 million. So if this was a loan that we took out, at the end, we'd be paying $19 million for it if it all panned out to the end. So we have to keep that in mind. It's not $10 million. It's more than that. And so my questions are, how can we afford this? What happens when cuts have to be made? What happens if the county cannot pay the loan? Everyone understands that by the time the loan is paid off, which I just talked about, is going to be $19 million, not 10. And perhaps you can go out for a bond. A bond, personally, probably not totally for bonds, but it does allow the citizens to decide, yes, this is important to us. And yes, we will make that payment out of our property tax every year to help build this facility. And I don't know if that's ever been considered. In my research on this issue, I didn't see many proposals on a really affordable facility. It just seemed like we went right to the top for the top-notch project, but maybe there is a better, like for example, the buildings that they do for boarding kennels, they seem to be nice buildings and they don't look like they would be that much more expensive. So anyway, those are my questions and concerns. I hate to say this, but as a tax-paying citizen, I think you still have some work to do as far as finding a facility, finally, that's more affordable.
Vicki, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Let me double check more public comment. Is there any other public comment before staff comes up?
Actually, just can I remember the public?
Okay.
I just want to give, not as a county librarian, just as somebody who loves animals, who's always used shelters as a resource, whether that is finding an animal on the side of the road and not knowing what to do with it, except for take it to a shelter, or looking to adopt and going to a shelter. It's a resource that you largely take for granted unless it's not there. And it's something that I think is really important just as somebody who lives in this community to have that resource. And I know how much people love their animals. The number of patrons I've asked not to bring their dog, cat, ferret, parrot, or snake into the library is a lot because people adore their animals. And so, yeah, just I'm very supportive of the shelter just as a citizen.
Thank you. Okay, Jamie.
Good morning, board, members of the public. I just want to talk from the project standpoint. I know we're discussing the financing, but I wanted to remind you guys of how we got here. I started with the county in 2021, and shortly after I started with the county, I was put on this project. Through that, this project was not just start to here. There were a lot of areas that we discovered. So first we went out for a request for qualifications in which we got LDA as our architects. From there, they worked with our animal services. They worked with UC Davis to even determine what was needed for our county. It was actually determined that a shelter bigger than what we had was not needed for our county. We just needed an updated facility. Through there, we went through the design process. We worked closely with the architect and the consultants to evaluate a number of options because we knew we needed to reduce the overall costs. One of the bigger things we did that did the most cost savings was actually relocating the facility. As many of you know, it was actually proposed to build it on the property behind where the current shelter was. The amount of earth moving work that would needed to be done to get all the utilities up there, it was a significant cost. So we actually moved the location back down to where the existing animal shelter is to reduce costs. We did more evaluating of scopes, reducing sizes, looking at kennels. We don't have a state-of-the-art facility that's being proposed. It is the bare minimum that's being required. There are systems within an animal shelter that cost more than like building a normal building. But if you think we're getting, roughly 10,000 square feet at 13 million, our DA building at almost 6,000 square feet is going to cost us about 5. It's not that much more, but you do have special flooring that have to be in, special slope that has to be in, special systems for pumping air through, the chemicals that get used. There's a lot that goes into it that I just want to reassure you that staff explored all of our options. The building that you have in front of you is to just meet our needs, nothing more. So I just wanted to reiterate that.
Is there any other in-person public comment before I shift over to online? Is she gonna go? No? Okay. We will shift. No. We will shift. You want?
And Madam Chair, we do not have any online public comment.
Okay, thank you. We'll do that and then we'll bring it back to the board. Go ahead.
I'm a volunteer at the animal shelter. I'm a dog walker. And I just want to say one of my first transport of an animal up to Truckee. Truckee is unbelievable. If you have ever seen their animal shelter, it's like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I know that's probably top of the line, but when you first walk in, you don't smell anything. And that's one of the best things. And the cages, I said I would stay there. I mean, they're twice as big as ours. They're glassed in, they're tile, they're just beautiful. So I just want you to know what can be.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna bring it back to, we're done with public comment. I will bring it back to the board. Board have any comments or questions for staff? I'm chairman today, so you guys gotta speak up.
Go ahead. Okay. I would just like to start to say thank you very much for doing all of this work. I do have concerns about approving something that other boards in years to come will have to deal with. I think you've answered my initial questions though. So at least for the next 10 years, we're good.
And actually for the full 30 years, because as I mentioned, the COP, which is a $600,000 a year payment, will be paid
That
off
goes
in
beyond
year
10 years.
10.
I didn't
It's
realize.
paid off in year 10, and then that funding could be applied towards this.
Got it. I think that the 5 supervisors that approved this at IBank, obviously that looks, I mean, they're happy with this. It is going to be the lowest interest rate we can find. I am concerned about cost overruns in the build.
As are we. That's why we requested 10 million when I think the estimate for the building right now, Jamie, I think it's around 12. We would have 13 to build it, so we would have some funding for contingencies.
And are we not looking at grants anymore once we start with this? Or, I mean, I know that they're few and far between, but also other funding mechanisms along the way that could help pay this off quicker.
Yes, of course, we would always be looking for funding wherever we could find it. Again, since I've been here, we've been looking for grant funding for this facility and have been unsuccessful. And I know I'm going to say that our friends at Focus have also been diligent in looking for grant funding as well, and have provided information to us about different grants that they found. For whatever reason, the county was either not eligible applicant, or the actual facility wasn't eligible for the funding. So that work would continue as we move forward, and especially also looking for other funding to support operations and some of the other equipment, specialized equipment that would be nice to have for the facility.
Thank you. That's all I have at the moment.
Supervisor Toffenali? We had you laid on after him.
Yeah, this is a very difficult situation for me because I've been involved in since back in years ago, and I have rescue animals. And all of my animals are rescued. I have 2 dogs that were rescued, and I have 4 cats. I've been to the shelter many times, and I understand the situation. And I've been behind trying to get something done here for it. Again, I echo some of the things that Supervisor Hubbard had to say about this actually costing probably, and if not more than $23 million over the course of 30 years. Whether we can pay it off or not before that, what's in this before us, it may be able to negotiate during negotiations, but for the first 10 years, we can't pay anything off. All we can do is pay the $600,000 if that's what it ends up being. What we're being asked here to do today is give her the ability to go and do some negotiations with IBank and bring back what those final negotiations in this plan would look like at a future date. I'm just struggling with the $23 million, and I won't be around for that time. And probably many of us 30 years from now, I know if I am around, I'll be too old to even know what's even going on. So I do have a couple of questions. And I'm not sure where some of these numbers came from. It says that we're going to have the economic benefits, including an estimated 130 construction jobs. I've been in construction my whole life. I've done 5, 6, 7, 8-story buildings, and I'm not sure there was 130 jobs at those sites. So where are we getting this 130 construction jobs?
So those job numbers came from IBank's analysis of the project.
Sure about that. If we use 130 people, then we have it constructed in 2 weeks. Because that's a lot of people on the job site.
Well, I'm certain that they're not all on the job site at one time. You probably have the undergrounding crew, the concrete crew, the electricians, the framers, the roofers, all of those folks at various times. So I'm sure it's not 130 jobs continuous on the project.
I'm just saying 130 jobs.
See, there's a cost savings already.
That's what I was gonna bring up, that maybe we can cut it down to 80 and save all those wages. Again, like I said, the first 10 years, we cannot pay it off. So they're gonna get their $6 million, over $6 million in those first 10 years. And then we'll be able to, if we can, pay it off after those 10 years, but I don't know what that number looks like. What, after 10 years, we have any idea what that number would look like that we would have to pay it off?
So until we get the amortization schedule from IBank, we won't know what that looks like. That's part of the negotiation process, is to actually get an amortization schedule on the loan.
So that would be coming back to us. We sent
Yes.
you over there to negotiate with a big hammer. And the police dog, the sheriff's dog with you when you go over there. I'm just having a difficult time here with this $23 million. I will say this, since it will be coming back to us for final approval, and that would be a 4/5 vote, correct? We would need for that. You don't need a 4/5 vote here now, but it'd be nice to send you forward with them, knowing that you have the current board members giving you the authority to go forward.
Correct. And it will require a 4/5 vote when we bring it back for approval.
Any other questions?
No, I think I'm done.
Any other board members? Adam?
I will just thank everybody in the room for your commitment to the shelter. And I have also used it on both sides. I've adopted, I've had help with cats, and it is a basic health and safety issue, not only for our animals, but for our staff and our volunteers. Financing is not ideal, but it's where we're at, and it's hard that it falls upon us at this time. But it seems to be at a dire place. I'm in constant conversations with Lisa and Michael about the dogs they can't take, about how the containment they can't do, the staffing issues. So while this doesn't remedy all of that, hopefully makes it a more ideal place, and our adoptions go up and quality of employment goes up. So thank you all for your commitment. Thank you to the admin team and our auditor for working so hard to find a way.
I do have another question. Since this is a lease program and we're looking at 30 years, probably 30 years, based on the funding and what you were saying, we won't have the property in our possession that we actually own it for 30 years. If we miss a payment, or we miss two payments because of economic times, and we need that $600,000 for something else, 11 years, 10 years from now, are we being kicked out of the building? And even though we have an animal shelter, we can't use it? I mean, is it like being kicked out of a house?
So I would anticipate that that is a correct assessment. We had COPs on the entire government center. If we were not to pay that 600,000, we would not have had a government center either because of the financing. So it's just like any other financing. If you miss a payment or two, well, they're not usually going to kick you out over one payment, but if you miss multiple payments, then that's problematic.
So they have to give us a 30-day eviction notice? I don't know what we would do then. And putting it on the shoulders of the people going forward that are be sitting in the seats, even your seat, if they're put in a situation that happens, we'd have to, where would we, I don't know what we would do.
Again, this is not unsimilar from the lease back that we have on the sheriff's jail facility, which is also a lease with the state. It's not Unlike the COPs that we had over the government center, where we had done some certificates of participation that were on a 30-year payback, just like this. That's the 600,000 that gets paid back in 10 years. Because there was a refinancing in 2016 of those. It's not unlike the HVAC payment that we had that we actually leveraged buildings against, where they could have repossessed our buildings because we financed HVAC. It's not an uncommon process for governments to finance things that are beyond our current capabilities to just pay cash for. We could do that, but it would definitely strap the general fund. And I am concerned that we are headed into some financial uncertainty that I would like to have liquidity in order to get through. And this allows us to do that. We do have identified funding sources that are not committed to other things right now. Again, the HVAC we paid off. We can commit that funding source that we've been paying for, I don't know how many years. I think Ms. Hubener probably knows how many years. Anyway, and then also,
Probably been 5 or 6.
yeah, also the integrated waste management payback of the loan that we made to them, if that is not committed to anything as well. So committing those financing sources to this project, again, we want to set up a separate account in order to pay the payments from and to make sure that we're solid on those things.
You mentioned refinancing. Obviously for 10 years, you can't do anything. Is there a possibility that after 10 years, what's the amount that's left in order to bring down some of the costs? To refinance or find some other financial situation that we could go forward?
Correct. If there was something that caused a tremendous drop in interest rates, for example, let's say they went back down to 2%, then of course we would pursue, or I can't say that because I probably won't be here in 10 years, but whoever's sitting in my seat would probably pursue refinancing when interest rates are more favorable. That's not an uncommon process for governments either.
Thank you.
Any other board comments or questions? Okay. Oh, go ahead.
I did have the same concerns as Supervisor Toppinelli, and we had a quick discussion about it. And I wanted to, I mean, my first instinct in looking at this is, are we creating a wagon trail issue that future people will have, future supervisors will have to deal with? And I just want to say that I think, and honestly, doing a whole pros and cons and thinking about this for quite a while, I really feel that any board that's going to sit here, I would hope that they're resilient and smart enough like this board who actually figured that out. So to me, I've actually feel that this is something, I mean, you have to take risks in life, and this is, I think, one that I'm prepared to take.
Not too many meetings ago, before she walked out the door, Kathy Gomes was here, and I remember all of us looking at her and confirming, like, are we good? And I think this is one of the first time she gave 2 thumbs up, that this was the best route that we've been exploring over the last, I don't know, now we're in 2026. For some of us, the entire term that we've been sitting here, and for some of us, even longer. And so I really, when she gave us those thumbs up, I felt a sense of relief that staff was going down the right path. So I want to continue to support staff with this path going forward. Martin just recently mentioned it. I mean, we've been kicking this can down the road for so long, and we are now bored. We've got to make a decision, and we've got to solve this. This may not be sexy like the fire department, but it is it is becoming a public safety issue. We have a responsibility to our constituents to make sure that they have the services provided, and that is one of the public safety services we have the responsibility to provide to this community. and invest in our community for the future. And like Martin said, you know, if we don't make these investments, we're only going to crumble the infrastructure we have in providing those services to the community. It is not ideal, but I think we have more staff has gone round and round knowing how conservative this board is and making the best decision in the future. I too have had concerns of what am I doing for the future board? Because I push some of the things that we have had to deal with, like Wagon Trail, but we're at a moment of time where we need to make those investments for our community. We have made excuses for way too long, and we need to continue to, I would like, me personally, continue to support staff in this endeavor, to ensure that we provide this service. And we're not part of the problem of kicking this down the road for another 20 years. So I am happy with what you brought back from staff, and I look forward to seeing what those negotiations look like at our next board or future board meeting. So this does require a vote, sir, right? Okay, Gary.
I will say this. I will support it going forward for her to go and negotiate. And then when it comes back to us, we can see what she actually negotiated on this thing. Hopefully, we can get some of these things resolved.
Yeah.
During the negotiations that we can all agree on, move forward, because we desperately, I totally agree. We desperately need a new shelter.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, with that, is there a motion?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. I've been saying 5 mentally, sorry. 501, 401. Yeah, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 15, clerk.
Item 15, action item, Clerk of the Board of Supervisors, introduce, waive first reading and authorize summary.
Hold on, let's clear the room, sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry. Yeah. If you guys want to continue conversations outside in the hallway, please. Thank you. Okay. Let's start that one over.
Yes. Item 15, action item, Clerk of the Board of Supervisors, introduce, waive first reading and authorize summary publication of an ordinance repealing ordinance number 254, codified as chapter 2.48 of the Calaveras County Code, establishing the Calaveras County Library Commission.
Good morning, members of the board. I'm Robin Glanville on behalf of Rebecca Turner, Clerk of the Board of Supervisors. We're bringing this item before you. This commission was created by an ordinance in 1961 to serve as an advisory group to the Board of Supervisors regarding reviewing library operations, recommending improvements, development, and maintenance of library services. After an evaluation, we've noticed that the commission has struggled to maintain memberships to continue regular meetings. As a result, the duties that the commission handled were passed on to county staff, and they've absorbed those duties into their daily operations. For this reason, we're recommending the board introduce and waive the first reading of the ordinance to repeal ordinance number 254, which would formally disband the commission. If approved today, the ordinance will return back to the board for approval and final adoption at the March 24th meeting. And Jesse, the county librarian, is here in support of disbanding the library commission.
Yeah, any board questions?
So we've got rid of the PEG commission and we're now having a library commission. Okay.
Okay, do you have anything to add?
No, I was just, if you
Okay.
guys had any questions at all about anything, that's why I was here.
So if there's not any, you have questions?
I just wanted to say, Jesse, you do have very strong Friends of the Library class, correct?
Yes. So I will say in previous counties or library systems I've worked at, a commission is important when members of the general public and often the librarian or library director themselves do not have direct access to the Board of Supervisors. So I think in one of my previous jobs, I managed 3 branches and I never directly spoke with a single member of the Board of Supervisors. So the commission was an important bridge. They attended the monthly meetings that I was in. I attended their meetings, and then they went and advocated to the board. I have direct contact with you. I've emailed or called all of you. My friends email and call all of you. There is no need for a bridge for that reason. You guys are pretty available to members of the community. So it was not forming the function I had seen the commission form in previous situations.
There's no board comment. I will turn it over to public comment. No public, any online?
We have no online public comment.
Okay, bring it back to the board. Is there? Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 401. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to supervisor announcements. I will start with Supervisor Hubbard.
Thank you, Chair. On the 25th, I attended a Caltrans meeting. The Caltrans meeting was about the new Hawk crosswalk and the pavement that's going in for Michelson School, which was very helpful. There were also a lot of constituents there that wanted to talk about the median, which they did take note of. On the 26th, I attended the Fire Safe meeting in Murphy's. On the 28th, I attended the Murphy's Fire District Awards dinner. On the 3rd of this month, I attended the Behavioral Health Board meeting. And on the 4th and 5th, I attended in Butte County, the Sierra Nevada Conservancy meeting. Our subregion is El Dorado, Amador, Calaveras, and Tuolumne. And we had half of the projects. So there were 10 projects that were approved, and all of them got approved, including Calaveras and Lily Gap. And I just wanted to thank administration and Jamie for taking that on board. That's it.
Supervisor Announcements.
On Saturday, February 28th, I attended the McCollum Hill Lions Club Health Fair that they put on free to the community. Also on February 28th, I attended the West Point VFW Crab Feed. And on Friday, March 6th, I attended the First Five meeting.
Supervisor Toffenelli.
I have nothing to report.
Nothing at COG?
I thought you would be reporting that.
I wasn't there.
That's why I thought you would be reporting them. I attended the COG meeting.
But hang on, Supervisor Toffenelli, aren't you doing the dinner show
Oh, yeah.
on the 21st? People should know about that.
Yes, the melodrama in Valley Springs will be starting Friday night. It will run Friday night and 2 shows on Saturday, and then the following weekend, Friday night, and 2 shows on that Saturday, the 21st. I've been involved with the melodrama for close to 20 years. So if you can, please come out and see it. It's always fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, Supervisor Hubbard.
Hey, bless you, no problem.
Supervisor Stopper attended in my place last week a COG meeting, and next week, along with Supervisor Andal and Hubbard, I will be attending the Wildfire Task Force Conference at Chicken Ranch Casino that is hosted by SNT, the Wildfire Task Force, and OCOC sponsor.
I think RCRC is in there as well.
Sponsored, yeah, and Mountain County Water. So that will be happening next week. Okay, Stacy, anything to report? No?
Nope, nothing to report.
CEO, there? Okay, with that, we will adjourn to the 24th. Okay.